for enjoying summer.
Okay, great. I love to go to the beach. Do people like to go snorkeling or scuba diving there?
Well, I would like to try someday, but I've never tried. I've never tried.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I like to snorkel, and I've been scuba diving. Well, one time in the ocean, and several times in a swimming pool for training. Um, yeah, it was a college class actually for me at my university, and we learned how to scuba dive in a swimming pool.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's not
So,
it's not the same doing to do scuba diving in the swimming pool than in the in the sea in the ocean.
right, the ocean was definitely much more exciting. It was a stormy day, so the sea was pretty rough, and the visibility was not very good. So it wasn't the best day to go, but it's what it was.
Well, you can try another time and another day.
Yeah, someday.
Cool.
Yeah.
Right.
Hello, Anatoly. How are you?
Hello, I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. It's nice to meet you.
Thank you.
Where do you live?
I live in Russia.
In Russia. Okay. Have we met before? I can't recall.
Yes,
Okay.
we met once
Awesome.
at in or in on 11th July.
Oh wow, you even remember the date. That's great. So it's good to see you again. I took a moment and I thought, wait a minute, that name is familiar. So good. Okay, so I don't know if anyone else is joining us, but I'm thinking we can go ahead and get started. Now, do you prefer to look at the links yourselves or to have me share screens? I usually share screens, but it's up to you.
The best way to use both possibilities.
Ah, okay, yeah, so that's a great idea.
I usually open two windows, and
Hmm.
in one windows I'm looking from a teacher's screen, and the second from my own screen.
Right, yeah. See, I often open two windows myself so I can see what's going on in both places. Luckily, I have a big computer screen so I can see. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and let's see here. Unfortunately, I have too many windows open, so I'm gonna close some things. Okay, so I'm still a little new with the group classes and verbling classes, but I'm starting to learn. I'm getting more comfortable with the interface, with how it's used. Let's see here. But this is going to be an issue. It's not. Why is it not fitting to the screen?
Hmm.
Um,
For us, it looks good enough. We
okay.
can see all screen.
Okay, good. So this is an article on about.com about understanding newspaper headlines. And this is an interesting topic because we don't use correct grammar, correct sentence structure in newspaper headlines, which often makes them confusing. They're usually incomplete sentences. For example, difficult times ahead. Okay, so if we were to change this headline, difficult times ahead, and we were to make it a complete sentence, what would that look like?
The times ahead is going to be difficult. They are going to be difficult.
Right, okay, that's one. Yeah, times ahead are going to be difficult.
Yeah.
What else? There's more than one right answer here.
It's coming difficult times ahead.
Yeah, maybe difficult times are coming ahead. Yeah. Good. Yeah. Another one is just simply difficult times are ahead.
Are ahead. Okay.
Yeah. So just putting in the verb are would also make it a complete sentence. Okay, great. So we're going to look at some different ways that headlines are created, the different types. And the first one is called noun phrases. And this is a headline that contains a lot of nouns and no verb. Okay? Just like we were looking at here. Yeah? Difficult times ahead. There's no verb here. That's one way to look at it. So, around strange exotic people. These are all nouns in this example. Around strange exotic people. There are no verbs. There are no articles. There are no adjectives. Well, there's an adjective, exotic. But exotic people together creates a noun. So here we have no verbs. So under pressure from boss. How about Santiago? Would you like to make this one into a complete sentence for me, please?
Okay. People are under pressure from his boss, for example.
Pretty good. Yeah, people are under pressure from their boss because people is more than one. But that's great.
From their boss. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thanks, Santiago.
Thank you.
Okay, good. Next one, unexpected visit. Hello, Mauricio. Would you like to have a try? Would you like to make this a complete sentence? Mauricio, your microphone is muted, so if you'd like to join in, just put your microphone so that you can speak. Click on your picture. How about you, Anatoly? Would you like to have a try making this one a complete sentence, please?
Maybe it was an unexpected visit.
Yeah, that's great. Really cool. Yeah, I like it. Okay, good. I don't know if you guys need me. You guys are really good at this so far. Okay, overwhelming response of voters. Santiago, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
I mean, sorry, I meant to say Mauricio. I misspoke.
No worries, okay.
Silly me. Mauricio, are you there? All right, then, Santiago, how about you?
Okay. It was an overwhelming responses of water.
Yeah, good. Yeah, that's a pretty good one. You're putting the it was an. Yeah, so you added the verb and an article. It's great. Yeah. Okay, good. So here they give us some pointers about how to figure these out. Some useful questions to ask yourself. So it is useful to ask yourself questions such as from what, about what, from whom, to whom, etc. when reading these types of headlines. So it helps you to begin preparing for the article, okay, by thinking about the vocabulary related to this subject. So we're going to take a look at the example unexpected visit, and we'll look at these questions and how they relate. So, from whom? Unexpected visit, right? What question would we ask here? What questions can we ask? We have from whom, yeah? Who made the visit? Right? Why was the visit unexpected? Ooh, who was visited, yeah? Who received the visit? Okay, so these are some of the questions that we can ask. And it will give us something to think about to try to understand what will be in the story with relationships between people, traveling to different places, right? What question can we ask about this one, traveling?
A question about traveling.
Yeah, related to this headline, unexpected visit.
The Pope No, no.
Oh.
Uh, I expected visit from the Pope was in Madrid, for example. Could be.
Okay, yeah, yeah. So that would give a place, right? And what question could we ask to get that answer? What question could we ask about this headline, Anatoly?
The question could be, uh, do you expect that visit
Right.
uh, in that destination?
Yeah. Did you expect it to happen there? Yeah. Did you expect the visit in that destination? Good. We could ask. So that would also be talking about surprises, right? Was it a surprise that it happened there?
Mhm.
Yeah. Good. Okay. So, do you have any questions about the noun phrases variety?
This kind of phrases could be passive or active. Is something about this?
Hmm.
Could be.
Yeah. These are usually passive. In
Ah,
the examples that we have, they seem to be rather passive, don't they?
okay.
Yeah, overwhelming response of voters. But it's hard to say because with no verb, there's no action, right? So that may be what gives it the passive feeling because there's no verb here. So there's no action. So how the action can't be active or passive. So that's what makes it look passive.
Okay.
Yeah, good. Any other questions?
Why the journalists made or they do this kind of headlines if they are not correct? They are not correct talking about grammar.
Right. Why
I
did we
mean,
do this if it's not grammatically correct?
yeah.
Well, the main reason I know of is to save space in the newspaper.
Really?
Yeah, pretty much to save space. Yeah,
Okay.
it's functional. Yeah, so the headline, needs to be compact because they make it larger, they use larger print, so they have to make it shorter so it doesn't take up like the whole newspaper, right?
Okay.
If every headline was a complete sentence, there would be no room for anything else on the front page.
Yeah, yeah. You're
So
right.
that's the only reason I can think of. It's a great question. I love it. All right, good. So, any other questions about noun phrases before we go on?
I noticed that we use capital letter for each noun and not capital. I don't know how we can call it for a preposition or collocations.
Right. Okay. So prepositions, articles, these words that are like connecting words, like conjunctions, like and or but, these are not going to be capitalized because they're not seen as important. Okay.
Yes.
So it's true, like of, from, and, but, or, to, uh, the. These are not going to be capitalized unless they're used here at the beginning. Okay, and they usually won't be because they take up space, and usually we'll cut them off and create a noun phrase. Yeah. So let's see. Um, uh, uh, so let's see here. I'm going to give you a link here. Okay. This one, you can take a look after class to follow up and look at the rules for capitalization in titles.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, that's another great question. Any more before we go on to noun strings?
No.
Okay, let's do it. Oops, not too far. Okay, so the next common form is a noun string, a string of 3, 4, or more nouns together. So noun phrases, they're mostly nouns, but noun strings, they're going to be nouns. Okay, country, leader, question, time. 4 nouns in a row. No articles, no verbs, no conjunctions, just no adjectives, no verbs, nothing. Just nouns, okay? And so these are difficult because the words don't appear related, right? There's no adjectives and verbs to relate the words to one another. Okay. So, our first example. Widow Pension Pay Committee. This is a challenging one. Who would like to take a guess at what this might look like in a complete sentence if we added verbs and articles and conjunctions and adjectives?
Maybe the committee decided to pay the pension for a widow.
Okay, yeah. We might the only thing I'm worried about is with the word order. Pay committee. So it doesn't say the committee pays widow, right? Because that headline would probably look like committee pays widow pension, right? But we're going the other direction. So this one is pretty confusing. I'm not sure I like it as an example because it doesn't make a lot of sense. But I'd like to see, maybe one of you could come up with an idea that works. So would anyone else like to have a try? Do you have any other possible ideas out there?
About this sentence?
Yeah. Yeah.
Pension was paid.
I think we need to make a change to the document itself. I think it should say widow pension pays committee. But no, then that's a verb. Nope. Nope. Pay here is not a verb, remember? That's the hard part. We have to remember pay is not a verb. Okay? So this is a word like salary. In this context, pay means salary, not to get paid.
Okay.
Yeah. So pay equals salary. It's a noun. All of these are nouns. See how this is why I wanted to do the topic, is because these things can be really confusing. So this is an article about the Widow Pension Pay Committee, okay? Here's what I'm going to say about this one. I think this one may be proper nouns. I think this may be the name of a committee, okay? Or this whole thing is talking about the committee, and the committee's job is to pay pensions to widows, okay? So here, let's take a look. In this example, in this case, it's helpful to try to connect the ideas by reading backwards, okay? So, committee, pay, pension, widow. So, committee, the committee pays a pension to a widow, something like that, all right? So this first example was really challenging. Don't be discouraged, okay? The first two, this is the hardest one to do. So don't let this get you down. We'll get through this one and then move on to verb changes. All right, so our next example, landscaping company disturbance regulations. So these are all nouns. So we're talking about a thing. All right, so what thing are we talking about here? Remember, we're going to read it backwards. Regulations, disturbance, company, landscaping.
Hello, Lisa.
Hello.
Maybe can I guess?
Absolutely.
I think that the new regulation disturb the landscaping company.
Okay. Yeah, that's a really good thought. The only thing is that disturbance is a noun, not a verb disturb. So we have to think of disturbance as a thing, as an object, something that happens.
Objective.
Yeah, it's an object. It's a noun. So maybe regulations create a disturbance for the company that does landscaping, something like that. Yeah, but it's really close, right? This one is really. These ones are so confusing. It's the most confusing variety. But thank you. That was great. I love it. Okay. And we have one more example here. Mustang referral customer complaint. So again, if we go backwards, complaint, customer, referral, Mustang. This one takes some imagination. So if nobody wants to try, I'll let you in on a little secret. Does anyone want to try?
What means a referral?
Referral. When you use a company or a product and then you tell somebody else about the company or the product or the dentist or doctor, that you're making a referral.
I understand. Thank you.
Yeah. So, go ahead.
Maybe customer complaints was referring or were referring or not. Mustang. I don't know what does Mustang means.
Yeah. So in this case, we're talking about Mustang cars. It's a Ford Mustang. It's an American muscle car. So
I think the part of customers complained that the Mustang work bad way, work not good.
Okay, yeah, something was wrong with Mustang, right? Good. So the problem is going to be here, right? The customer is making a complaint about the Mustang referral program, right? So there's some kind, and this program part that they give in the example here. This is where you have to use your imagination, right? But if we think of a referral program like something that the business is doing to get people to buy their cars, okay?
Okay.
So, noun strings. These are my least favorite ones. They're the hardest ones. But you guys really, you did a great job, and thank you very much. So, before we move on to some easier ones, do you have any questions about noun strings? No?
Well, I think they are a bit hard.
Yeah, they are. They are. Luckily, they're not that common. But they do happen, but they're not that common.
Okay.
Yeah. They're not used very often because they're so confusing. But at the same time, they're used because they're really good at saving space, right? You take out everything else except the nouns. So if you only have really limited space, this will be your best option. So that's why they do happen, even though they're so confusing. So, yeah.
Okay.
Good. Any other questions or comments about noun strings? Okay. Take a deep breath. It's over. So the next one is verb changes, and this is going to be changes in the tenses usually. Okay. So the first example is using a simple tense instead of the continuous or perfect forms. Okay. So, for example, forgotten brother appears. Okay. So we have an article, a forgotten brother, and a verb, has appeared, okay, in the past tense. Alright? So we've changed the tense to the present tense here. Okay? Professors protest pay cuts. Okay? So here we have the present continuous protesting, but notice it takes up just a little bit more space to say protesting, right? So we have 3 letters here and another 3 letters here. So 6 letters we remove, we save that much space. All right. So protest in the present tense. Any questions about this one using simple tenses?
Well, pay cuts means when, for example, the government wants to save money and they put less money in the, for example, in the universities or something like that. Like
That would be a funding cut. That would be a funding cut if the government is giving money to the university. Why is it not? Hold on, for some reason there's a delay. Here we go. That would be a funding cut. A pay cut is when if there's a funding cut and then the university decides to pay their professors less, then that's a pay cut. All right. So a pay cut is related to salary again. Salary.
the government wants to reduce their salaries.
Right. So maybe the university wants to
Okay.
The university wants to reduce the salaries of the professors. The government wants to reduce the salaries of the senators or government workers. Yeah, pay cuts.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So remember, in this case, pay as a noun is the same as salary. Because here we use protest as a verb, but pay as a noun.
Okay.
Yeah, it's confusing because pay is a verb and a noun, right? And they look the same, sound the same. Okay. All right. The next one is when the infinitive form refers to the future. So, to open instead of is going to open, right? Mayor to open shopping mall instead of the mayor is going to open a shopping mall.
This sentence, for example, is not correct. Talking about grammar.
Right. This one is correct. The mayor is going to open a new shopping mall, yeah? But this one is not correct.
I'm talking about about the first one. Mayor to open shopping mall.
Right. And newspaper headlines are not going to be grammatically correct to save space. Okay? Just notice how much smaller this one is than this one, right? This one takes up a lot more space. So to save space in the paper, we break the rules.
So we have to suppose or to imagine what does it mean.
Exactly, right? So in a few minutes, once we go through the examples, we're going to start looking at some real newspaper websites and some real headlines, right? And we're going to imagine like what's really going on, because that's the challenge here is to fill in the missing pieces. So we break the rules, but we do it in predictable ways. And that's what we're talking about right now is the predictable ways that we break the rules. Okay. So the next one, James would to visit Portland. Okay. We take out the is going and we just make it to visit. To
So when someone is going to do something, they put just to.
Right. Yep. Using the infinitive form, like to go, to walk, to play, to talk.
Referring to,
Yep.
to the future. Okay.
Infinitive form to refer to the future. All right. The next one for verb changes, auxiliary verbs are dropped in the passive form. Okay? They just take up space. So, man killed in accident. Okay? Instead of a man has been killed in an accident. Right? So we remove the articles an, but then we also take out the auxiliary verbs. Okay? So yes, you just use your imagination and you put them right back in your mind, right? They save space on paper and they assume you can figure it out, which is why it's hard when you're not a native speaker to read these. It's a challenge.
Okay.
Yep. Okay, Tommy the dog named Hero. So again, taking out the has been, taking out the articles. Well, Tommy the dog is part of the name, so they kept that one, right? This is a proper noun. So in that case, they would keep the. And the last one, oh wait, before I move on, any questions about the various verb changes? The 3 types of verb changes.
No.
Okay. This one is, I think, maybe much easier to grasp than the noun strings. And the drop articles one we've been looking at all along. So this one will go by quickly because you may have noticed in the examples above, the articles, both indefinite and definite, are often dropped, okay? Because they take up space. So president declares celebration. The president has declared a celebration. So this one has a few things going on. The articles are dropped. The auxiliary verbs are dropped. The tense is changed. So, yeah, a lot's going on here. And one more before we look at the real news articles for today. Today's news. Passerby sees woman jump. Passerby has seen a woman jump, say, into the river. Sort of a sad example. Okay. So,
Sorry,
are there any questions? Yes, what?
What means passerai?
Passerby. Oh, yeah. This is a person who's passing by. Yeah. Someone walking by the street when some event happens. Someone who just happens to be walking by.
A witness.
Yeah, it's like a witness, exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but a witness tends to imply like some kind of crime or accident. So
Yeah.
we could use passerby in any situation, like when somebody walks by something happening, whether it's a good thing or a bad thing. A witness usually implies some kind of bad thing or really big deal, like a witness to some really big event, like a concert or a famous person speaking or something like that.
Okay.
We can use passerby for all kinds of situations. When somebody is passing by. Okay, good. Any other questions from this page before we take a look at some newspapers?
No.
Okay. So, the first paper we're going to start with for today, we'll take a look at a few headlines from my local newspaper here in Sacramento, California. And I'll send you the link as well as and there's something of a delay in my windows. It's going slowly. Here we go. Okay, I want the screen share window open. Here it is. Okay. So let's see here. Need to make this bigger. Yeah. Okay. So, on the right here we have a selection of headlines, and on the left we have some sports headlines as well. So, I'm going to start us off with this one. Is it big enough? Can everybody see?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yes.
So, man dies after lightning hits California beach. So, what's happening here? Are we making verb changes? Is it a noun string? Are we getting rid of the articles? What's happening in this headline?
The man died after he was been hit by a lightning
Yeah.
on California beach.
Yeah, good. Okay, does anyone have any other things they'd like to add? Any other versions of this headline?
No.
One thing I heard is maybe an article would be good between hits and a in California beach, like hits a California beach. Otherwise, yeah, that looks great. And let's see. Okay. What's going on here with this one? The weather's been on my mind recently because it has been hot, hot, hot. It's been 41 degrees here this week. It's been terrible. So, who wants to take a stab at this headline?
This is very easy, I think. Sacramento temperatures will be in a few next day very hot, hotter, hotter, and hotter.
Yeah.
On the same level.
Right. Now, let's see. What example that we were looking at before, right? What's happening here? What do we need to change? What's missing in this headline? Are we missing articles? Are we missing verbs?
Yes, Sacramento temperatures are going to remain, no?
Yes, are going to, right. Yeah, because right here, okay, I can't highlight just to remain, but here we're using the infinitive to talk about the future.
Refers to the future, yeah.
Yeah, to remain are going to remain. Yeah, good. Okay. Just gonna go ahead and move down and see what else we have here. How about this one? We have some fires in the area. It's kind of scary. We've been having a drought, and now there's fires. Who wants to try this headline?
Which one?
Oh, sorry. Neighbors to sand fire evacuees provide clothes, animal shelters. So there's two things I'd like to do. First, well, in either order, first or second doesn't matter. One thing I'd like to figure out what's happening here, right? Are we removing articles? Are we changing the verb tenses? Are we having noun phrases or noun strings? And secondly, once we know what's happening here, How do we make this a complete sentence?
I can't see the headline.
You can't see it?
No.
Oh, wow. Okay. I don't understand why not, because I'm looking at the classroom and I can see...
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, okay, good.
Okay.
Oh, I thought we were having technical difficulties for a moment. Okay, good.
Okay.
So take a look at it for a moment and decide what's happening here.
There was a problem with fire, and neighbors helped to tune off using sand this fire, and they also gave clothes to the people who are suffered by fire, and they gave the shelters for animals.
Yeah, good. Okay, so what type of headline is this? Like, is this a noun string or a noun phrase, or did we remove articles and conjunctions grammatically? What's happening here?
Maybe it is a future tense, but I translated it in different way. In the previous our discussion, we recognize that neighbors are going to send fire, but not in this case. It doesn't make any sense.
Right. So sandfire is actually the name of the fire. We have names for the fire, and this fire is named sandfire. And here we use the verb provide in the present tense, which I think is okay. I think it already happened, and we're using the present tense to talk about the past. Right? Provide clothes. So we're using the present tense right now, but it already happened, so we're talking about the past with the present tense.
Well, I have a question. Why you put in the names to the fire? It's like, for example, like the hurricanes.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, really?
And often we have more, like right now there's more than one fire happening. So we have the sand fire, and then I think there's another fire, but I don't know the name of.
But here in Spain, we talk about the fire, but we talk about the area, the name of the area. No, we don't put name in the fire. So for me, it seems strange, you know?
Yeah. For me, it just seems normal because I grew up here in fire territory and we named them.
I guess so, yeah.
Because I remember in high school there was a really big fire near my hometown called the Fountain Fire, and I'll never forget it. It's the Fountain Fire.
The Fountain Fire, yeah.
Yeah, and it creates a terrifying image in my mind of a fountain of flames, you know?
Yeah.
So it's that name is pretty compelling. Sand Fire is kind of boring, but Fountain Fire was like, whoa, okay.
Okay, I understand.
Yeah, it's part. A lot of it. It's like hurricanes, and a lot of it I think has to do with selling newspapers and creating hype, right?
Yeah.
Making it sound more exciting and dangerous. Like Fountain Fire gave me that emotional response, and emotional responses sell newspapers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that's partly what's going on here. Yeah, good. Okay, so does anyone see any articles in this headline? Are there any us, ands, or the us, thus in here? Any us, ands, or thus? Nope. So one thing that happened here is we removed the articles.
Yeah.
So what would this headline sound like or look like if we put the articles back in? Thes, us, and ands. How would this headline look if we had the articles? And maybe a conjunction too.
For example, the neighbors from neighbors near to some fire help to evacuate. No.
So evacuees are the people, yeah?
Uh,
These are the people who need help. Like these right here are evacuees. So articles, like, how about the? What if we put some thes into this headline?
Maybe evacuees from some fire were provide with clothes and animal shelter.
Yes, yes, that's great. Good.
Or something similar.
Great. Yeah. There's always more than one correct answer with this activity that we're doing, right? It's a matter of creativity and personal writing style and word choice. So another way could be like, to give you an example, the neighbors to the Sandfire evacuees provide clothes and animal shelters.
Okay.
Yeah. So yours was right and mine was right, and they're just slightly different, but they have the same meaning.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, let's see. 50. How about... Let's see, is there anything else that's a good example here? I think we're going to go to the San Francisco Chronicle, which is another good California newspaper. I thought about using the New York Times, but they have a really annoying advertising on their page, so I skipped it. I was like, no, these ads are not good for my classroom. So sorry, New York Times. This one actually has a great layout. If you could see, I love the layout on this page. Is it big enough? I think the text may still be a little small, so let me see. Oops, wrong one. Wrong window. Oh, good, and it scales and it fits. So, okay, I'm gonna share screens with, if it will let me. Sorry, there's some delay with Chrome. Here we go. Okay. Whoa, why is it backwards? Does it look backwards to you? Is the website? Yeah. Wow. Okay, now we're having technical difficulties. Uh-oh. Oh, there, it fixed itself. Okay, good. Okay, did I give you the link already? I gave you the link, yes?
Okay.
Yes, okay, good. All right, and the headlines seem big enough. Okay, so where did the list go? Well, it used to have a nice list, but now it's gone. Okay, so why don't we just start at the top here for a moment. UN Council agrees on demand for Gaza's ceasefire.
I think we can use past form in real meaning of this.
Right, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a verb change, right? We changed the tense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, from the past to the present. Good, but we're still talking about the past. Right. Good. What else is happening here? What else can we change grammatically?
Also, articles
Yes.
The United Nations.
Right, the United Nations. Anywhere else? Maybe one more article? Or two? I can see places for two. How about the UN Council agrees on a
demand.
On demanding? No, on demanding. No. Demanding for fire.
We can see below this picture the clue. The UN Security Council agreed on a statement Sunday.
Something happens with Lisa, I think.
Mm-hmm.
We lost her.
Yes.
Well, what did you think about Anatoly? What do you think about it's a bit hard. Well, you have to understand. Okay, Lisa's coming.
There we are.
Lisa
I don't know
is
what
back.
happened. Sorry,
Where
guys.
did you go? Where did you go?
I don't know. I got that Google message. Oh, snap. Something happened. Google Chrome said something went wrong, and I had to figure out how to get back in. Sorry, guys.
Don't worry,
Okay.
it's not your fault. It's internet.
It's okay.
Right. It happens. So thank you for not taking off and leaving. I appreciate it. All right. So where was I? What was the last thing you heard before I disappeared?
We're talking about the headline.
Did you hear what I said about the UN Council agrees on a demand or the demand for the Gaza ceasefire, right? Yeah, so I think we could put articles in a few different places here. Okay, what's happening with this one? I'm going to share screens again because it's not sharing. We have another article on the right. What's going on here? Let's start with this. What does this mean?
The United States.
Right, the United States what?
It's their opinion.
Right.
They say.
Yes.
Say yes.
That's exactly right. So the U.S. says that Russia has fired rockets into Ukraine. So we have
in my opinion, it is just opinion of government, the United States.
Yes, thank you for bringing that up, right? This is the opinion of the government, not necessarily the people or the whole country, right?
Yes.
So this is the official position of the United States government. Yeah, good. All right. Lots of stuff. Ooh, this one's scary. How about this one? Ebola outbreak kills leading doctor in Liberia.
Well, a doctor has died of Ebola in Liberia.
Yeah, so a doctor has died of Ebola in Liberia, right?
He was an American doctor. Okay.
Yeah, it was. Okay, good. Now, let's see. What's happening here grammatically? What can we change to make this a correct sentence? So there's a... Yes, go ahead.
It could be not necessary in the past tense. It could be in process.
If it was in process, how would we say that grammatically?
Ebola is outbreaking.
Close. The Ebola outbreak is killing. Yeah, outbreak is a noun, so here our verb is kills. So outbreak is a noun. But good, yeah. So the present continuous. In this case, he's already dead, so we are referring to the past tense. What other changes can we make grammatically to this one? Is there anything else? For example, does anyone see any articles here? Do you think we could use some articles? For example, like, oops, that's not what I need, but it's going to do it anyway. Ebola outbreak. We could say the Ebola outbreak, right? So anytime there's a noun, we could try to put an article in front of the noun. Liberia is a country, and unlike the Ukraine, which can have the or not have it, either way, Liberia would not have the. What's the other noun or noun phrase in this headline? We have Ebola outbreak, Liberia, and what's the other noun phrase? Leading doctor, right? That's the other noun, the person. And so he's either a leading doctor, one of many, or the leading doctor, the best in the whole world. Okay? So I think a leading doctor might be best because he's one of Liberia's most high-profile doctors. Not the very most, but one of the most. So, the Ebola outbreak kills a leading doctor in Liberia. Alright, so we're about out of time today, so do you guys have any questions about this before we wrap up?
No questions. Thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
We need to practice a little bit.
What a little bit?
Practice.
You have to practice a little bit.
Yeah. The class was great.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. I hope it's helpful. I hope next time you pick up an English newspaper, the headlines won't feel quite so confusing.
I hope so.
All right.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you, everybody, for your participation today.
Okay.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Right.
Thank you very much. Take care.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.